Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Facebook Live for Teacher Appreciation Week with GAE. We are so excited that you are joining us this week for Facebook Live, and we have a very special guest. And before we introduce our guest, I am Lisa Morgan. I am a kindergarten teacher and the current president of GAE.
I'm Sharon Doe. I'm a physics teacher in Augusta, Georgia, and I'm the current vice president of GAE.
Good evening. I'm Carly Shaw, and I'm a physical science teacher in Fulton County, and I'm the current Georgia Association of Educators Secretary Treasurer.
And our special guest this evening is Donald G. And he is the creator of the video that we've shared twice on the GAE President's page. And he will tell us a little bit more about himself. Welcome to GAE Facebook Live.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm Donald, and I study civil engineering at Georgia Tech here in Atlanta, but I'm originally from the great state of Iowa. Um, and my mom's a teacher. And so I wrote the song Thank You Teachers for my mom originally. But, like as songwriting goes, you think about the topic. And so I was thinking more about my educators and people I really cared about. And so I sort of ended up broadening the song to Thank You Teachers for everybody. And so, yeah.
Okay, so that was the first question we were going to ask you was
Okay,
why
yeah.
you wrote the song. And so I think it's very appropriate that you wrote it for your mom. And Teacher Appreciation Week generally is right before Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So that is a very appropriate time. So, how did this come to be that it came from your idea to thank your mom to this wonderful video with all these children thanking their teachers?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you like it, first of all. um, so I wrote the song back in like a while ago. I was thinking about my mom, but I had never released music, and I've never actually. This is the first time I ever released. And this year, I saw the challenges that so many educators and students and parents, right, were going through, especially through my mom. My mom still teaches, and seeing the transition online and then back in person and the whiplash of that, I realized that one of the best parts of teaching for a lot of people is seeing students in a classroom and like the smiles, the hugs, the interaction, the light bulb moments, right? Like that is in many ways the best pay teachers get. And that was something that was really sort of removed this year. And I felt like if there was a way that I could contribute a feeling of appreciation to teachers, as many teachers as possible, I wanted to do that. And so I thought about the song and rewrote it, worked on it again this fall, and I was able to connect through a friend to Kendrick Dean, the producer. He's worked with like Mariah Carey, Chris Brown on their early albums in like the 2000s, been nominated for like 7 Grammys, but he was a high school history teacher before becoming a music producer. And so I roundabout got to pitch the idea to him. And he was like, "Oh, I love this idea, right? Like, let's get together." And so I flew down to Atlanta, worked on the song with him, improved lyrics and melody and all that. Really sort of took the song to a different level. And then in January, I was thinking about, me singing the song is one thing. It's meaningful for my mom, especially teachers that I had. But I felt like there were so many students that wanted an opportunity to say thank you. And so I wanted to create a virtual choir type video that brought students together from all over the US to say thank you to teachers in a way that hopefully, educators would find really meaningful. And so then I got to talk with the National Association for Music Education and the National Choir Directors Association. And I got to get in touch with a lot of students from all over. I think we have every region of the United States represented. And that's where we sort of got the big push. And I arranged it for a choir after I finished writing it, and then sent in submissions and made the video. It was a lot of work, but I think it was really meaningful and well worth it.
That does sound like a lot of work. So you said there are students from all over the country in it. We have
Yeah,
students from Georgia, I hope.
quite a few. Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Me being at Georgia Tech, a lot of my friends from Georgia Tech participated. And then Atlanta Public Schools, we had students from Atlanta Public Schools. Um, I think there was maybe I think 10 to 15 students from Georgia, actually. So a big portion of there were 85 kids in the video, and then there's been over 100 that have helped with the like production and the branding, and then the marketing and all that.
Very
So
cool.
Donald, what would you say was your best experience in making this video with all the children?
Making my mom cry, probably. That was the best. She watched it and she loved it. I mean, working with Kendrick Dean was absolutely amazing, right? Like, I never had the opportunity really to work on a song with anyone, actually. Like, I've written music for a long period of time and performed quite a bit, but I've never had like a songwriting session. And to work with, a Grammy-nominated producer, the songwriter, as your first one was very incredible.
Who are some teachers that have influenced your life throughout being a student in your career? And they don't have to all be college, it can be anytime.
Yeah, man. I mean, definitely my mother, but besides her, my kindergarten teacher, well, I feel like everyone remembers their kindergarten teacher, because that's just like your whole world changes and opens up from your parents into this like big, wide system of education. So Miss Rosine was my kindergarten teacher. Wonderful woman. I actually still talk to her all the time. She's lives like a block away from me now, and I talk to her every time I see her in the yard. Mr. Todd in third grade, he was just very inspiring as an educator, funny, enjoyable, and made me look forward to coming to school every day, which I feel like this year a lot of students have realized they really do enjoy school. Maybe the only thing they didn't like was having to wake up early, right? Because I think everyone has missed the interaction and connection that happens in real school. And then in high school there were a couple. Isaac Peddlety was I did the International Baccalaureate program in high school, and he was my theory of knowledge professor, which was like a class about thinking and why we think the way we think. And that was a very eye-opening experience. He was an incredible person to teach that. And then Mrs. Carbling, she taught physics. And I'm not like naturally a very math and science heavy person. Like music and art and interaction with people is something I just enjoy a lot more. And I feel like I'm more naturally inclined to do that. But I like math too. And she was sort of like the first teacher that I had that made me think about math and the application of science to the real world through physics, which made me think and realize maybe I could, study engineering and have that, build that skill set and that way of thinking in a way that I, didn't naturally want to do. And so I really, really loved it. I took her class for 2 years and had an incredible experience. And now I study civil engineering. So
I was going to ask you about that because you said you did math and science, so now you're studying civil engineering, and you said how you got to that path. So what are your career plans? What impact do you want to have? I mean, you've obviously had an impact on teachers and students through this project, but what are you looking forward to?
yeah, I love, I mean, I sort of have two things that I really want to pursue, which one is, music and the performing arts, but also sustainability. So I study civil engineering with a focus on sustainability, because I find that very motivating and inspiring, right? And I want to use my engineering knowledge and ability with science, but also ability to communicate with people to help make cities sustainable. I'm originally from Iowa, right, which is a very rural state with cities in it too. Like Des Moines is a pretty big city comparatively, and I would love to help find solutions for rural communities and cities working together on sustainability issues, because I think there's a little bit of a divide there. And me, from being from a rural state, I really love and appreciate that background. So I'd love to work in sustainability long term, career wise, but I also really enjoy performing in music, and I want to spend time continue to make music that's meaningful for people. I love like projects like this with the Thank You to Teachers, or there's some other projects that I'm working on right now coming up, hopefully in like a year or two, that could combine music and sustainability in a way. So yeah, going to pursue both, I guess.
Okay. And I could see, as an early childhood educator,
Mhm.
you know, we sing in my classroom all the time. We have a song for everything. So if we did have some of those songs for our children, to learn from
Mhm.
going forward about the sustainability, I think that would be something that is a natural connection to be made.
Yeah.
So that would be really cool to have.
So Donald, you told us about the teachers who inspired you. If you could send a message to those teachers, what would your message to those teachers be?
I would say, I think teachers change lives every day, right? I think that the actions that a teacher has sort of echo through time in a way that very few other professions have the ability to do. And the impact, like, the older I get, the more I admire my teachers because everyone just has the same number of hours in the day, right? And the same amount of time, and they choose to spend their time helping others be the best they can be, which I think is a very, very like noble profession. And so I just, say thanks for spending your time and effort on me. I hope I can pay that forward.
Now, we know everybody goes through that awkward period when we're in junior high or middle school for you all, or sometimes it extends into high school.
Mm.
Is there something that you would want to apologize to those teachers for? Because you said now you realize that those teachers were very inspirational for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think the main thing I would need to apologize for is too many jokes at the wrong time. As you start to like attempt to lead things in college or high school, even you realize, wow, it can be very disruptive to have jokes and random things said, and it makes sense why teachers would get mad. So I think that would be the main thing.
Okay. Okay.
Do you have a message for any of the current students, maybe that are in middle school or high school, something you would like to leave as an impression on them?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing is I think COVID has allowed for everyone to have sort of a reset button on their thoughts and approach towards education in school. And I think, have been some really great things about people learning at home, right? And people being able to progress through material at their own pace or spend more time and learn in different ways. But I also think that uh, everyone can go back to school with a mindset, a positive mindset, and a mindset of, there are so many benefits. And if it's something you've always done, it's something it can be hard to do that, right? Because it's like, oh, this is just same old, right? But COVID has allowed us to have a restart. And so I think people can rethink their mindset towards education and school and what they want to get out of it. And, use school to get educated. Don't just go through and muddle through, right? Because I think teachers love it when students are there engaged and trying to learn, rather than just like being passive intakes of information. So.
Now, I understand you're an Eagle Scout. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I have been in scouting since I was 5 or earlier because my brother started scouting pretty young too. And so I started as a Tiger Cub, which is the very beginning. And then all the way until I was 18, I've been involved, and became an Eagle Scout in 2016. My Eagle Scout project was I helped build a wetland in a natural resource area near my home because there was some runoff that was coming from my neighborhood that was like stormwater runoff, and it was running into a wetland area that would then empty into a stream. And so we added like a bunch of native plants and dug out a certain area to create sort of like a wet meadow is a technical term, where it would be able to catch some of that water, slow it down, and allow for nutrients to filter out so the water would be less polluted. And so that was quite the project. Took a lot longer than I expected. I started when I was like 15, and I think I finished when I was 17. And you have to finish by 18. So yeah, it took a while, but it was great. A really great project. And I think outside of, even my college education, I don't think anything has had more of an impact on my career plans and even just personal development in the Scouts. I think that scouting, the values that are instilled in young people, right, guys and girls, because scouting is open to everybody now, I think are some of the most valuable things I learned when I was young. And yeah, I can't wait to enroll my kids at Scouts. Whenever I have kids. I don't have kids now. 10, 20 years from now.
Taking some time to get to that point. We understand that. So I want to go back to the video for just a second. And how did this work? And do you think in the future, I know we do have COVID, so everything is virtual. Do you think in the future we might see a production with a choir actually assembled to make another video? Is that in your plans? I'm just guessing.
I would love to do that. I would absolutely love. I mean, the music's all there, the songs are there, and I think there is also like a lot of people really appreciated and enjoyed the video, and so I think that could be a great opportunity. Um, I have some other songs about education actually that I think could also be very meaningful, and so if I was able to do something like that, it could be really fun to do a sort of like education themed concert and show. So maybe I would love to work with you guys if that's something you want. um, but yeah, the final video was quite the production, and it took a lot of time, effort, and energy from a lot of different people and teachers watching it like, oh, what if you did this or changed that? So yeah, I really enjoyed it and learned a lot from the process, especially the getting it out. You know, I feel like once you have something like that, you're only halfway there. I feel like getting it out to the right people and sending it to make sure it gets to teachers was a whole nother project in and of itself.
So you also learned some marketing skills in this
Oh
project.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So what role did social media play in getting your video out there?
Huge role. I think social media was probably the biggest way that this was shared because I think it's been um, on YouTube, which is like a more direct thing, where it's like person sent to whatever, or people looking it up. I think it's at a couple thousand, but then on Facebook, it's at like almost 20,000 people have like seen it and been exposed to it. Um, which yeah, just a huge sharing, individuals sharing it with other individuals has been a massive way it's been exposed.
Okay. Oh, we're all kind of frozen for a second. I hope we're all here. So a thank you means a lot. It really, really does for teachers. Um, but I'm going to ask you because you're younger. Um, what do you think? What other things do you think would be something that we could do for teachers, particularly during COVID? And then I'm going to ask Carly and Sharon um, this week.
Mm.
What have you done for your teachers this week? Might be the way to ask it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that besides like the song, like putting the song aside, right? Because that was like the main way I was trying to show appreciation through music, and also by like sending personalized notes to my teachers. Uh, I think expressions of appreciation aside, like thank yous. I think that probably the best thing that people can do is when coming back to school in August,
Mhm.
carrying forward the level of understanding and appreciation we've had during COVID, because education is changing rapidly even without COVID. Like I've seen my mom, like her curriculum's changed like 10 times in the past 5 years or whatever, right? Like there's just so much change that goes on, and educators having to change continually. And I think that the best way that we could help teachers is by recognizing that they're just people, and people doing their best for students. And I think that would be very valuable from a student and parent approach, right? 'Cause, like I know in a more elementary school, a lot of the interaction and pressures come from parents, because kids are just there, they're just doing their thing. And then once kids get into middle school and high school, I think carrying forward that attitude of appreciation of the time, effort, and energy in every day. It doesn't have to be through thank yous, but it's just simply an attitude change. I think could make a huge difference.
Sharon.
In Richmond County, we had a GAE/RCAE giveaway where
Mm.
we gave away materials to educators, not just in Richmond County, but in Warren County, Burke County. And we had a lot of educators come by and they got the free materials. We did not limit how much they could get. We just asked them to be considerate. And many of them got enough for educators in their building who were GAE members.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Carly, I know you've seen this. I saw, we don't need another mug.
We are doing a meeting with our members, and we're also going to have giveaways for teacher appreciation. And we're also going to recognize our retiring teachers that have given up their service for years and now are eligible to retire and hope that they become retired GAE members. So we have a little plan for them and a little activity that we're going to be doing. So I'm looking forward to that with our members.
And since you said that, this wouldn't be us if I didn't put in the comments, if you are not yet a GAE member, I did put the link in the comments that you can join now. Have to ask that every week. If you're not a member, we invite you to join us. And that's something, so Donald, I'm going to ask this question. Are you here in Atlanta at Georgia Tech now, or are you still working virtually?
Yeah, so I'm here until Saturday, and then I will fly back to Des Moines to do an internship.
Okay, so what has that been like being, because we've talked all about the differences this year with COVID in elementary and middle and high school. What's that been like for you as a college student?
I think education, especially at the college level and high school level, is best done in person. Like I don't think there's any substitute for being in a room with a teacher who cares and you care, and just that interaction and questions that go on there. I think that there is a lot of room for learning virtually, like Khan Academy, right? Absolutely amazing. One of my best educational tools I've ever experienced. And like, I think you can learn a lot of math by yourself very quickly through things like that. But there are other aspects of the application, or just like the fundamental understanding and questioning that goes on in a classroom, that I think can't be replaced even through virtual, because I think virtual encourages a sort of passivity, like we're watching a screen, right? And I'm not in the room with a teacher, or the person isn't there, that really facilitates that level of engagement. And so I think that people going back into classrooms will be super valuable, but people should still consider, using online educational tools and being on a screen to help them get the sort of background knowledge that allows them to make the best use of the classroom time as possible. And so for me personally, I thoroughly did not enjoy the 100% virtual experience, right? It's challenging to have the depth of discussion and interaction as it is when you can stay an extra 5 minutes and talk about one thing just one-on-one, or someone has a question and it helps everybody in the room and leads to more discussions. That level of engagement I just think rarely happens over a screen, simply because of the medium. And so I cannot wait for my senior year to be back 100% in person at Georgia Tech.
Yay.
Yeah.
What brought you to Tech? Just curious.
Yeah. So I love Iowa, right? I would have been super happy going to Iowa State, but I want to study civil engineering with focus on sustainability. And Georgia Tech civil engineering is #1 in the nation. But when I visited, I just fell in love with Georgia Tech as a school and a campus. Really loved the feeling of Tech, level of like intellect and care. And I really feel like students at Tech embody that motto of progress and service. Like there's just so many incredible discussions that I've had with students where you talk with someone like, yeah, this is just a normal person. And then all of a sudden they bring out this project that they're working on to help people in this certain area, or, innovating in this certain way. And I feel like so many students at Georgia Tech have this like chaser mindset where they want to work super hard and make a difference. And that was just super inspiring to be around. Absolutely. Yeah. So the feeling of being on Tech's campus for me was unbeatable. And then it was made possible for me to come to Tech through scholarships because I would not have been able to go out of state without it. But the Stamps Presidential Scholarship was one that I interviewed for, and I got. There are 40 students per year that get it. And so it made it possible for me to come to Tech, which I'm super appreciative of. And hopefully in my lifetime, I'll be able to, pay that back and help other students come to Tech.
I heard you say that you have an internship coming up. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I'm working for a civil engineering firm. It's like a medium-sized civil firm, and it's based out of Mankato, Minnesota, but they have an office in my hometown. in Des Moines. And so I'll be working with our water resources team with Ryan Benjigirdes, who's a great water resource engineer. And I'll be doing like a mix of CAD work and then also going out to sites and visiting and like ensuring that, things are going up to code and that water resources are, the plans are being implemented properly. So really excited. I'm going to learn a lot and can't wait for the summer.
Yeah, in the field work is fantastic. Something
Yeah.
that teachers do when they do their student teaching, and it definitely is an unbelievable way to learn on the job training. And it is extremely helpful when you go to get your actual job and doing an internship. That's fantastic. I'm really happy for you. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Donald, I'm going to give you the last word. I know you're here with us only for a couple more minutes. So, once again, we want to thank you for the wonderful video. And if there's anything you want to close with about the video or for the teachers in your life, I'm going to give you that opportunity now.
Yeah, well, I just want to say once again, thanks to my mom, who's a teacher, and songs for her. But also thanks to all the teachers, who make every student's life better, right? Education wouldn't be the same without the passion and commitment that teachers give. So that is very, very admirable and really appreciate it. And then to students, look forward to the fall, right? And just make sure you keep a positive attitude and work with your teachers the best you can in the fall.
Great. Thank you so much. And we will be sharing the video this evening. I will share it again on the president's page. So if you haven't seen it, we want all of our members and the people that are watching with us to definitely see that video because it is very awesome. And it's just a chance. It's also calming. I know I watched it one day, after the day in the classroom, that's one of those things that can give you that moment to reflect and pause and the stresses of the day just kind of float away.
And it's nice to feel appreciated.
Yes.
But thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was nice to meet you, Donald.
You too.
Nice to meet you.
So we got a couple other things to talk about, but I want to say again, if you haven't watched the video, scroll back through the president's page. I'll post it again this evening and watch this video because this song is absolutely wonderful and there's so many kids from all across the country in it and it's just for teachers. So I'm so glad he could join us this evening and talk about it. So before we talk about the other stuff, I thought it is Teacher Appreciation Week. So I was thinking, and I was going to ask you, Carly and Sharon, is there a teacher that you had that really inspired you to become a teacher?
Just one?
Well, no, we have 30 minutes left, so you know how we are.
I had several, and I had Gwendolyn Taylor, my 8th grade science teacher. I had Laura Bird, my 9th grade science teacher. And then I had Sheila Keener, who actually talked to the person that was going to be my principal when I got my first job. She was my sponsor for Future Educators of America and just saw a lot of potential in me and helped me get my first job as a teacher. So owe her a lot. And then Erin Weaver, my college professor, who was also the dean of the School of Education that I attended. Those are the names that stand out in my mind.
Sharon?
Okay, the names that stand out in my mind, my high school English teacher, Ms. Leviston. Ms. Leviston was at every event I ever went to. She was there cheering us on. It didn't matter if it was hot or cold or raining, stormy outside, Ms. Leviston was there. If we had an event, she was there. The next one is Ms. Kraft. Ms. Kraft was my science teacher in high school. She was my biology teacher. And of course, I was the teacher's pet. Because we had that bond, Ms. Kraft and I, we really did. She liked science and she made me like science. And I just took it and ran with it, just like that. Going to college, I would say that Dr. Marion Furr had a big influence in my life. Miss Linda James had a big influence. There's a lot of people that had a big influence over me. Because when I was growing up, let's just say I kind of needed a lot of guidance because I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't quite know how to get there. And those were the people who were instrumental in helping me get there.
Okay, so I'm going to tell y'all a story about my teacher. And Pat Duncan was my 5th grade teacher. And this incident stayed with me, okay, how many years? We're not going to talk about how many years ago I was in 5th grade. But I realized once I became an educator, the impact she had on me as a student. And we made sculptures and they were on our desk. And came in and something had happened to the sculptures. And her reaction just showed me that day that she really cared about everything we were doing in our class and that it was all important to her. And as an educator now, I look back, and even though 5th grade me had no intention that I was going to be a teacher, had no idea I was going to be a teacher, then probably had no idea. But that had an impact on me so that now as a teacher, I care about everything my students do. And I think that I realized that impact as an educator. And then the other teacher that I think had an impact on me and why I'm so involved in GAE was Mr. Jerome Heltz, who was my high school Latin teacher. And the school had a policy that if you were a coach, you could wear, like a polo shirt with collar and buttons. But if you were not a coach, you had to wear a tie every day if you were a male teacher. So Mr. Heltz had the wildest, craziest, ugliest ties you could ever imagine. But that was his protest, that he had to wear a tie every day. And the other males who had the title of coach didn't have to wear a tie. And so that was my introduction to non-violent silent protest throughout my high school career. And I still can see some of those ties that were just like, they were hideous. Okay, let me just be blunt. They were hideous. They were pretty bad. And so as I think back now as an educator, those were the ones that had an impact on me. So we do need to do some commercials this evening for our members. If you are a member of GAE, I'm telling you now, we want you to attend. We will be having the GAE Leadership Development Academy, and it will be June 7th through the 9th. And we've got lots of great sessions. And Carly, Sharon, are you thinking what I know that some of our people that are watching us are thinking? They're thinking, I'm not a leader, right? You remember when you thought that?
Mhm.
You would hear about LDA or something else and you think, oh, that's not for me. If you're watching us and you're a member, it's for you. We want you to attend. Okay. So if you need somebody to give you that message and you need something to show, to say you're the leader, Lisa said you were a leader. Carly said you were a leader. Sharon said you're a leader. We want you to attend and have all those wonderful sessions. And that will be June 7th through 9th. And the other one, I'm just going to get all our commercials out of the way in a one-stop shop. Next Monday night for our local presidents, we will be having a conference and we invite you to register for our local president's conference. We will have several different topics to discuss with our local presidents, as well as listening to our local presidents about what we will be doing for the next year or so. So that's our commercials for this evening. And I'm trying to think.
Have any of y'all gotten anything for teacher appreciation?
Yeah.
I had the best thing. I had we have tiles in our school and the ceiling, obviously they have those, drop ceilings with the tiles there. And our school allows students to paint on the tiles for teachers' classrooms so that we can decorate our classroom, and it's really cool. And the kids get to see that all year. And I had 3 students that painted for me Hello Kitty, Choco Cat, and Bad Mitzvah Maru. It's 3 Sanrio characters, and they all brought them in this week for teacher appreciation. And that was just such a special gift because those are things that are from my childhood that I remember. And these students thought of enough of me to do that for a teacher appreciation gift. And that's something I'll always have in my classroom, to be able to see year after year, and other students to see that they've made for me. So I was so excited. I took pictures. I'm going to post it on Facebook because they did an amazing job painting these. Oh, look what she got.
Yes, this was from one of my freshman students.
Oh,
Yes, and it is beautiful. It is beautiful. So this is what I got yesterday, and it has a little pencil and a little pen in it, if you can see that. And this week also at my school is Spirit Week for teachers. So yesterday was Superhero Day. So I was a superhero yesterday. If you look on our school's page, you'll see us dressed as superheroes. And today was Pajama Day. It was actually Wake Up Wednesday. And we had a refueling station to help us wake up. And it had all kinds of snacks and goodies, honey bun, juice, coffee, all of that good stuff. A lot of sugary stuff to kind of wake us up and give us a boost. So we really appreciate our administration.
okay. So one thing our members will be receiving, I'm not sure if it's gone out tonight or if it will be first thing in the morning, our next legislative alert, because the legislative session ended March 31st. But we want to keep you informed of the bills that the governor signs. And so he signed some bills this week during Teacher Appreciation Week. I think somebody forgot to tell him it was Teacher Appreciation Week with the stuff he signed. But yeah, so the ones that were this week didn't have a lot to do with teachers. That SB 213 allows school systems to use their eSPLOST funds to install equipment that reduces energy or water waste. SB 159 allows them to use vehicles with a capacity of 8 persons or less to transport children to and from school activities. And the Graduation Opportunities and Advanced Learning Act is to create a new school specifically for students and adults who have dropped out to come back to school. And then this is the one that I say they didn't tell him it was Teacher Appreciation Week. The teacher, what he calls pipeline bill. I didn't realize that. I thought a pipeline was for oil and gas and water, not yours. Okay, I'll leave that one alone. And this bill seeks to address the shortage of educators um, with some different programs and by having the Teacher of the Year be ex officio on the state school board. And so Joe, who we didn't ask to be with us this evening, sent us put a comment that our alert will go out first thing in the morning. So, and he will also keep us informed of any other bills that the governor does sign. He has, I think it's 30 days to sign them, but we're in the time where the governor has to be signing everything. So we want our members to continue to look for that. And the other thing that I want to talk about real quick. I'm going to go ahead and depress us, okay? Let's be depressed and then we'll talk about the good news.
It's Teacher Appreciation Week. Do we have to be depressed?
Yeah, we do. Because it's really depressing and nobody's talking about this. I don't know if y'all saw, there was an NPR article report yesterday that now 22% of all COVID cases are in children.
Oh.
Yeah. So, when we started out at the beginning, very few, less than 5% were in children. And then they said, well, 10% of them now are children. Now, when the numbers are going down in the population total, 22% of the cases are in children. So, and here's the really depressing part. Y'all remember back this time last year when everybody was all upset because we were going to pass 100,000 cases in the United States? I remember that. Everybody was watching. As of today, we have 101,061 cases of COVID-19 in children in the pandemic. Yeah. And so that's just, it's 101,000 of children. And I know, Carly, we were talking before we got here. You have parents that are saying they don't want the kids to still be wearing masks at school. And we have people that are saying, well, the adults have been vaccinated, we can all go back.
Some of the children haven't been vaccinated, though.
Exactly.
None of the children have been vaccinated. If we have 16 and 17-year-olds, our high school
Some of
junior.
the ones in my class say they have gotten both vaccinations.
Yeah. And I read that the FDA may approve the Pfizer for 12 to 15-year-olds next week, which will be very good. I know all three of us are vaccinated. I'm very excited. I'm happy we are. I'm happy that lots of educators are. But until everyone is, the pandemic's still out there. So we still have to be following the CDC guidance. Wear a mask, wash your hands, stay home if you're sick, socially distance. And, they said in an elementary classroom, we could be 30 feet, but everywhere else, we still need to be 6 feet apart. And I don't want us to still be here, but we have to face the reality. When we have 135 children every day being diagnosed with COVID, it's still a problem. The pandemic is not over. So that's where we are.
I think it's important for our children to keep that in mind too, because it's getting hot And of course, they want to be outside with their friends and they want to run and play tag and tackle each other and all of that. And, we have to remind our kids that we're still in a pandemic. We're trying to make things as normal as possible for you, but we still have to be cautious.
And one of the people that's watching commented that they were watching the news earlier and that one of the new variants from India has been discovered in California. And we know, I mean, it's, of course, if it's in one place in the world, it's going to be, because there are still people traveling all over the world.
Mhm.
So we're going to get a little bit more upbeat. It's still there, y'all. Wear your mask, socially distance, wash your hands, stay home if you're sick, and if you aren't yet vaccinated, get your vaccine. A sore arm for a day or two and a slight fever is much preferable to getting COVID. And, yeah, I've heard the things, well, most people aren't that sick. But you don't know if you're going to be most people. And we don't know. I just think about all these children and how we don't know what this disease is going to cause long term.
Right.
So,
And just because you want to gamble with your life, I don't want to gamble with mine.
No.
you said it. And that's the thing. It's not just your life, because we all, and we know this as teachers, I don't know that there's anything we can do that doesn't impact somebody else, especially in the classroom, especially in those settings. Okay, we're going to stop being depressed now, but we're still going to wear our mask, right?
Yes.
And we're still going to social distance in our classrooms, and we're still going to wash our hands, and we're going to stay home if we're sick. And we're going to hope all of our students can be vaccinated very quickly. But we have great news. We have great news. GAE, for our members, we have hired our new executive director, and he will be starting with us in 2 weeks on May 17th. And he will be our guest on our May 26th edition of Facebook Live. So we will get to know all about him then. I'm very excited. His name is Dr. Craig Carter, and he's coming to us from Louisiana. So I'm very excited about that, and know that he's going to help us move forward in GAE for our members and our students. So I'm excited about that. So we'll have a party on May 26th, and hope everyone will join us then. The other thing we need to talk about, and the registration link will be up tomorrow. That's a promise. I had it on my list for today, but it will be up tomorrow. We're going to be doing Rice at Night on May 18th. And we've all heard, we talked all through the legislature about the bills about our voting rights. And I know y'all have seen all the things saying, well, this is what it does and this is what it does, right? Okay, so we're going to have our council actually sit down. I heard, have you read the bill? Okay, well, we read the bill. I read the bill, but I'm a teacher. I'm not a lawyer. So I want the lawyer to read the bill and explain it to us. So that's what we'll be doing in our next Rights at Night on April 18th. And we will get that link up to register soon. Sharon?
Well, even as a teacher, when you read that bill, you can tell some of the stuff that's going on in there, won't be beneficial.
Yep.
It's not hard to see.
It's not. So I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. And I want to thank all of our members this Teacher Appreciation Week. for everything you do for our students each and every day. I know Teacher Appreciation Week seems to be that week that helps us make it through till the end. Um, it is close. We are close to the end of the year. And hopefully next year we will start, and hopefully by then we will have the pandemic under control. But of course, we don't know what's going to happen between now and then. So thank you for everything you've done for our students this year. And please understand, when I say thank you, teachers, it's not just teachers. Thank you to our paraprofessionals, our bus drivers, our school nurses, our school clerks, our counselors, our media specialists, our school nutrition workers. Did I miss? But custodians, I knew I would forget somebody when I start listing them all. Our custodians, everybody that helps us with our students every day, because you may not have the title teacher behind your name, but you are a teacher, an educator in our minds. I know we all have that story, being a classroom teacher, of who has helped us and who has really taught our students each and every day. So thank you. We have anything else we need to discuss, or are we done for tonight? Carly?
I'm good.
Sharon?
I want to thank all the educators in the state, and I want to give a special shout out to the students and the staff at the Richmond County Technical Career Magnet School. Y'all are the best.
Okay, Carly, I know you got to say your school.
Yeah. I work with an amazing group of individuals at Hopewell Middle School, and they do a whole week of Hopewell Appreciation Week for all of our teachers so that no one gets left out. They include our custodians, our cafeteria workers, our ESPs, our counselors. Just everybody gets recognized and everybody gets recognition that week, and it's pretty awesome. We also have the GOAT, Greatest of All Time, that we put out every month. So there's just a lot of ways that they appreciate us, and it really does help you get through that last push where there are no vacation days and then the testing starts, and you need a little something to get over the hump sometimes. And it makes a world of difference to know that you're appreciated. An appreciated employee is going to do more than is expected, as opposed to someone who does not feel appreciated.
Yep.
So that makes a big difference.
You are so right. And I just want to say once again, thank you to all of our members for everything you do for our students every day. And thank you for joining us this week. We will be back next week for Facebook Live at 6:30. And then again, we will have our new executive director on with us on May 26th. So you all have a great evening, and we will see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Stay safe, everybody.